Hey everybody, how you guys doing today? AMC Bigums here. I hope you're all having a good week. This video is going to show you how the government basically is screwing us. I didn't find this information. I want to give credit to the people. I can't even remember who even showed me this. I had a couple messages, so I don't want to just single out one or two people, but a whole bunch of people asked me to look into this plunge protection team. And basically, it's a complete joke. It's a huge way the government is bailing these guys out, and it never stops, my friends. But let's get into this video here real quick. There's quite a bit to go over. So, the other day here, a person posted, and we'll get into this. We'll revisit this, but some entity sold close to 10 to 50 billion worth of puts in a matter of 30 seconds to prevent complete market catastrophe. As of now, the entity hasn't been verified. Most likely the DTC or the Fed. So remember that. Also, the Fed balance sheet is almost close to 9 trillion. Now remember this: they haven't been identified because that's key, and we'll revisit that later. That'll actually come up here right now. So basically, let's get into this quick. What is the Plunge Protection Team? Basically, it was Donald Reagan basically made this organization to prevent market catastrophes. They don't answer to anybody. They don't have recordings of their meetings. We'll get into who's involved in them, and you guys are gonna start to go, "Holy crap!" It gets pretty crazy here. So, basically, we'll look at the Investopedia link here. So one of the main concerns here is critics fear that the Plunge Protection Team doesn't just advise, because right now what they're supposed to do, the core purpose of this is they're supposed to advise the president on things that they can do to prevent these things and help in certain things. But as you can see, we'll get into it later on, that they don't only advise, they actually do help and participate, and they do collude with these banks. But what does it say? But actively intervenes. Basically, they're worried that they actively intervene to prop up prices, including with banks, and we'll actually get into that in a second here. So, basically, we're going to pull this up here. This is an article. Secrets of the Plunge Protection Team. I'll go ahead and post this as well. It's got quite a bit of information. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but definitely want to check this out. Like I said, we'll go ahead and revise all these things back because it'll be back into that tweet that we just went into here. So basically, this was made after 1987, after the Black Monday event. Basically, this Plunge Protection Team has the entire U.S. Treasury at their disposal to manipulate the markets through what we call derivatives. And you know what? We've all talked about derivatives in every single one of my videos. In other words, they're using assets behind the U.S. Treasury to rig the prices of commodities like gold, currency, etc., and stocks. Basically, this tells you who's on there. Let's see here. But it also talks about how they work closely with the U.S. Exchange, Wall Street banks, and people that have the largest derivative risk holders in Citibank and J.P. Morgan. Like I said, we're going to get into this. This thing is like basically made to not let the banks fail. It's pretty crazy, which makes me, like I said, it gets pretty nuts here. So what we're going to do here is keep going down. But basically, as you guys can see, few people are aware of this executive order. In a nutshell, this is authority behind the four dictators and the sick laws and regulations that have backed their casino-style derivatives gambling spree since 2001. So what I wanted to go down here and find was, so basically, this talks about before 9/11. I don't want to get into all that. People get all cranky about stuff like that. But it was, let's see here. It was here you go. So now we're going to get into this. So like I was saying before in this tweet, so it comes up, as you guys can see, as a no-name buyer. Nobody knows who it is. Well, as you guys can see, it talks about instances in the past. I'm going to go ahead and post this. I don't want to sit there and get too long in this video. But I'm going to post this so you guys can read the events that these guys have gotten involved in before. But each one of those events are an occurrence of a large no-name buyer in the futures market secretly plunged and bought up massive equities of derivatives. Through banking, and like I was talking about, you got ISDA contracts, all these other derivative markets. So basically, it just seems like the government clearly in on this. But these, like I said, I'll keep going into this. These were completely reckless gambling bets on that the future index S&P would rise, even though it was obvious that it was going to fail. Like I said, they would continuously prop this up. Why? Because you can't let the banks fail. Because if the banks fail, all these derivatives that they've spent and stolen and gambled with all of our stuff. Like, they're not going to be able to cover it. It's just getting beyond ridiculous. Now, what we're going to do for a second before I keep going is we're going to look at the people who are on this. So the people who are on this board, you got the board of governors, okay? Well, the board of governors are the people, they're the federal government agency that regulates banks. So basically, they know all this is going on. Why? Because they're regulating the banks, and the banks are letting all this happening, so clearly the people regulating the banks don't care, because it's been going on forever. So they're in charge of this committee. Guess who else is? Everyone's favorite. And now, other person who's in charge of it, Mr. Powell. Now, you guys, I want to talk about that interview he had for a minute there. You remember a minute ago, he was sitting there like, oh, we have no answers. We have no answers. You guys, everyone was so excited that the Doge went and they looked into the stock, the meme stock and all this thing. And now they come up and go, we have no answers. We have no answers. Hey, we're going to keep raising inflation and we're just going to look at it later and blah, blah, blah. And it only hurts poor people, he said, but they can still get to work, drive their cars and eat. So we'll get through it. And then in 15 years, you guys can go ahead and look at the actions and decide if we did good or not. Basically, when they're already almost dead. Like I said, it's crazy what's going on with this stuff. But the sole purpose is to continuously do these index bets and things like that nature, reprop up the market so it doesn't fail. And guess what? What we have been waiting on for these is a market, to collapse. So these margin calls start happening. And it's like, magically you get this. Where is it? Sorry. Magically you get this magic bailout, and like I said, you're already seeing that. This has happened in the past. You are getting these buyers, no-name buyers. It's already been going on. This was written in like 2000, and I can't remember, it was like 2011. I'll put it at the bottom, but this was written a long time ago. All these articles you guys I'm going to go over are written a long time ago. But like I said, they're definitely helping them out with all of this stuff. Perhaps Americans can understand why the major U.S. banks such as J.P. Morgan are holding trillions of gambling derivatives on their books, as the PPP group use them to rig the markets. Sooner or later, these market fixes will no longer hold the bubble from bursting. Like I said, you guys, this is a big deal. The government's literally propping this up. It's insane. Now, I want to go into some other articles because I can go to that article. I'm going to post this one. It's got a ton more information. You guys definitely read this one. But I want to go ahead and look into a couple other ones here quick because, like I said, tons of people have talked about this. And they're talking about them in 2000. Tons of people, like these are old articles. And they're just getting... They have, meetings on records and things like that. So, but like I said, they don't report these meetings. They don't have to report transcripts. So it's like, it's literally just, hey, Mr. President, we need you to bail this sector out quick. We need to do this because this sector is failing. This is failing. It's crazy. Like I said, everyone's propping up this casino. Why did I pull this one up? Oh, yeah, this also talks about, other things in the past. I'll go ahead and post this one up another day where it suddenly dropped 588 points. And bam, next thing you know, the S&P took off and they had all these future bets on it. And bam, the future Dow Jones bets got triple-digit gains because suddenly they went in there, did the triple-digit gains, got all that money and rebailed out the banks. Like I said, they're literally helping these banks out over and over and over and over. It's beyond insane. One of the things that I was looking at is most of these people that are talking about the Plunge protection plan. Like I said, it was made to advise. They weren't literally allowed to hold all of these things. But, in the end of the day, let's be real. This guy, he's up to some corrupt stuff. Her, this girl shouldn't even, what? We all know about this clown. These guys, again, it's continuously people regulating their own selves in the back end and doing everything off books. Like I said, you guys, this stuff it's scary to think that like they're stealing from us. The government's in on it, hedge funds, banks, and then like the way the whole system's set up, you have to go through these banks to pay your bills to do this. It's insane to me what is going on, and it's all tying together. And all of a sudden, next thing you notice, everything Powell said, everything suddenly makes sense now, doesn't it? He has no answers because he looked at it and goes, God, this thing is so bad. We have no answers for inflation. We have nothing. Like I said, it's crazy, dude. This stuff is beyond nuts. But this Plunge protection team, everybody needs to look into this. And guess who pays for it all, by the way? taxpayers. So basically, this is all done with taxpayers' money. So we're basically, again, paying for them to steal from us to regulate them and bail out the banks that are stealing from us. We're paying for that, you guys. Uh, uh, like I said, I got a ton of stuff to go over, but this is just crazy. This is just crazy. But yeah, we need a lot more eyes on this. I am sure it's on Reddit, but we need a whole bunch more people looking into plunge protection. Obviously, this all makes a little more sense now. This tweet makes a lot more sense. I tweeted on it a while ago. I thought it was a family office that was doing it, but even worse, it's the government. They're helping them out with the repo bonds. Like I said, this is it's getting ridiculous, but we're now seeing how deep the swamp goes. Like I said, guys, we got to get out there and start voting out these corrupt trash. We got to get them out. This swamp's deep. But thank you guys for listening. Have a good night.